Number of transactions still pretty constrained this last week, but on the other hand, the buyer demand stayed relatively stable and the supply of active listings was flat. I'm Ron Milligan with RE/MAX Select here in Portland's Pearl District, and of course I've got for you the weekly numbers for the Portland metro real estate market. That's both Portland and Southwest Washington, all the numbers combined. And I also have some predictions for 2023 and 2024 for specifically the Portland metro area. So that's coming up. First thing up is the supply of active listings. That number stayed relatively flat. Last week we were at 5488. This week it went up to 5528. That's a slight rise, and it is higher than that kind of high benchmark number we saw about 3 weeks ago at 5503 when things started to decline a little bit. So we're back up, and now we have a new high benchmark with our 5528. I suspect that what we're seeing right now is just a leveling off, that the lion's share of folks who needed to sell this year have already put their homes on the market, and we're not going to see a big rush of listings coming to the market. I just don't see where that would come from at this point, but we'll keep an eye on that and let you know if anything changes and if my opinion on that changes. The number of new pending transactions, so the number of homes that went under contract this last week, was still pretty steady. We're looking at 738 versus the previous week, which was 764. So it's down a little bit, but if you look back over the last 8 weeks or so on this chart here, you can see that we're right in the range where we've been all along, at least for the last 8 weeks or so. So this may be sort of our new normal. These are our summer numbers. Of course, we compare that to last year. Last year was much busier, much more robust activity, and that number was 1,046 when I looked at my notes from last year. So not where we were last year, but still relatively stable. And when we're comparing that to the number of new listings, and a fair number of those new listings are listings that agents have canceled and relisted with the new MLS number, just to get a new MLS number and get a new days on market count, and maybe they rearrange the pictures a little bit just to get some eyeballs on the listing and hopefully get some feet through the door. A certain percentage of those new listings are actually what I call those cheap pops on the market. So we're not seeing as many new listings hit the market, and some of those that are hitting the market are actually old listings disguised as new. So the number of homes that sold, I mentioned, was kind of constrained. We came in at 554 this last week compared to 519. 519 was probably okay because it was that week of the 4th of July that these properties went under contract, and a lot of folks were on vacation. Maybe that's an excuse that can kind of bleed over into this week. I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll see what happens this next week with our numbers. But we would like to see the number of closings go up because, as we're seeing, the number of new pendings is in kind of that 750 range. And if we're getting down to 550, that says that a lot of deals are falling apart. Could be for financing, and it just could be, sellers and buyers not able to agree on repairs anymore. The number of price reductions of the last 7 days was up. Last week that was 755. This week it was 783. And of that 783, 738 are still active, and 45 did go under contract. And the number of those that were serious price reductions, $15,000 or more, was only 408. So the number of bumpable buyers, so those are the contingent offers, is relatively stable. It was 118 last week, 119 this week. I just want to see that number go up because it's an indicator that we're in more of a normal market, a healthier market, where sellers will accept a bumpable offer contingent upon the buyer selling their current home in order to perform on this purchase. I think that will unlock a lot of inventory and allow a lot of folks to make those changes that they have not been able to make for the last couple of years because of the bonkers market we've been going through. The average sale price for the properties that did close, here's a point of concern, was $616,801. So that's down from the previous week. And if we compare it to last year at this time, that number was relatively the same time period, same week last year. That number was $583,613. That's only a 4.6% difference increase in the average sale price. That's really small, and of course, you know, I keep saying that this is a small sample, and you can have a few large transactions that'll close in a week or not close in a week, and it will kind of drive that number up and down. However, on the other side, when we look at the median, which is supposed to kind of eliminate those oddball transactions, a couple of big transactions that will skew the numbers up or down if we have a whole bunch of less expensive transactions. The median is supposed to kind of handle that a little bit. And if we look at what the trend is doing on the median, and I don't have a graph for this one, might have to put one together. But over the last few weeks, if we go back to kind of the middle of July, the increase in the average median sale price, 11.7, the week after 10.5, then 7.9, then 7.7, then 6.5. This week it was only 4.7. So that number is definitely tracking down. So keep an eye on that and let you know if that trend continues. But if it does continue in this way, you know, that year-over-year comparison at the end of the year, when we're comparing all of 21 to 22, which is generally how we gauge the increase in the average sale price or decrease in the average sale price, that may drag down my predictions that we're probably going to land somewhere around 7%. So as always, we'll keep an eye on that and let you know how that goes. The average sale price as a percentage of the original asking price, so what you listed it at and where did it sell eventually, that came at 98.39%. Last year at this time it was 100.73. You know, in a normal year, in a normal market, we would list a property and hope to sell within 2 to 3 weeks, and at somewhere around 98% of the original asking price. So we're kind of right there. Compared to what we've been experiencing the last couple of years, this feels terrible, but those are sort of normal numbers for our market. Average days on market did increase. It was 23 last year. At this time it was 17. And the median days on market jumped back up again to 10 compared to last year. That was 5. So the last thing I want to talk about was a prediction that I saw, and this came from Fortune magazine, their online version, and I've got a link to this map down below. And what it is an interactive map that was put together by Moody's, and it was their predictions for what's going to happen for residential real estate across the country. So if you click on the link, you can find the map and kind of scroll around to the areas that you're interested in and see which areas they think are going to increase and which areas they think are going to decrease. Portland, in 23, it looks like about a 0.5 point decrease in the average sale price. And in 24, they're looking for about a 0.5 point increase in the average sale price. So they're predicting for the Portland metro area that we're probably going to be flat for the next couple of years. That is probably similar to what we saw with HPES, the Home Price Expectation Survey. I do that monthly video where the big players kind of do their predictions for the end of this year, and then HPES, that Home Price Expectation Survey, they give us their numbers for 23 and 24, and those numbers were looking more like normal appreciation, like 3 to 5%, 3 to 5.5%. Appreciation. I'll double check those numbers as soon as they come out. So Moody's is a little more pessimistic. HPS is a little bit higher, but keep in mind HPS, those numbers are for the national market, and Moody's, that number that we see is just for the Portland metro area. So as always, all real estate is local. If you have any questions about what's going on in your neck of the woods, feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to share what I know and do a bit of research and let you know what I can find out. And as always, feel free to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with someone you think might need the information. All right, we'll see you next week.